Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope everyone is doing well today. Appreciate it. Shout out to all the subs. Gratitude to anyone new. Let's talk about Opetaia. This video I'm about to show you is from about a year old, but it's regarding Zurdo Ramirez, who's actually fighting next week against Chris Smith. Doing a video for that, a full breakdown of that whole card coming soon. But shout out to this guy, Michael Akobi, I think his name is. I'll leave the link for the full interview because he's talking about he's talking to Opetaia, talking about fighting Zurdo Ramirez, and he's like, he found out that he was in the rankings and he was above him, and he's like, well, who is this guy? I've got to fight him.
The only reason I know who he is because I looked at the rankings and he was ranked above me on box rank, and I was like, who is this guy?
That kind of mentality, if you think about a lot of fighters these days, they almost have the opposite. They see someone that's, that hasn't lost or in the higher rankings, and they tend to not want to fight them. He's like, gets like annoyed.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I've just gone over to UK, done what I did, and then I've looked at and then people have sent me the rankings, and there's this guy above me, so I had to look at him. He's not a bad little southpaw, but bro, get out of my way.
And the fact that this guy's, how dare you be above me in the rankings? Something that, if that's how it came across to me. With regards to that fight, very realistic fight, obviously. I'm slightly at the moment favouring Ramirez to beat Chris Smith, but I'm going to watch a lot of film over the weekend on both guys to really come to a conclusion. But that fight could be very realistic. Obviously, Opetaia's got this, hasn't been announced yet, but it's been ordered against Sin Cara. Thank you to anybody that watched that video that I made on just went into a little bit of detail about the fight, talked about Samoan Power, which I'm going to get into, which is the video I'm in the middle of making, and a little bit about his style. And I always try to include a bit of science and art and a little bit of boxing stuff and a bit of culture, a bit of music if I can. And I appreciate anybody that watched that. Thank you. So the Ramirez fight, look, at the end of the day, he's definitely the best cruiserweight in the world. He just has to go and prove it, obviously, against Ramirez or Smith. I'm not ruling him out at all, but when that fight happens, that will be for a unification, which should be a massive fight. Do you know what I mean? This one next week's a massive fight. It's a decent card in Saudi Arabia, and so obviously, just watching this interview, just again, every interview you get with any fighter, you really feel where they're at, and you always get the sense he's just absolutely gunning for greatness. And imagine if every fighter had that, every fighter in the sport had that kind of mentality. The sport would be amazing. Right now everyone's being so cautious, they don't want to lose and they don't want to take any risks, and I get it, part of it's business, but he's on it. And yeah, I'll leave the link to that full interview. You can go and check that out. Shout out to that channel. But there was another thing I found. Shout out to JaiMcAllister, who has a good channel in Australia. He posted a video of Opetaia sparring. Tyson Pedro. I've not heard of him before, but I think he's an American Samoan, former UFC, I think, or maybe MMA. I'm not sure, but the point I'm trying to make is when Opetaia does move up, and he obviously will, I think one thing he's going to have to probably get really good at is realizing he's going to be the smaller guy. So when he does get walked down and his punches are being taken by massive guys, he's going to have to use his skills a little bit and have to fight in the pocket a little bit. Basically, he's getting backed up, and he's having to it's only a small little clip, but that is what I think he should do a lot more of. Getting over his sparring, just bring in massive heavyweights that can walk you down and tighten up his skills on the inside. You maneuver a little bit, get the shots off, and he's been doing that. I've spoken about it a few times in the Braders fight. It was more there, the development, the awareness. Inside fighting is a completely different style of fighting, and his style is very that pendulum step, Eastern European, quick flash of the feet and then bang and then in and out, sharp shots and mixing up the attack. and power Soviet, but not totally Soviet, because Soviet is actually really defensive minded and tactics, maneuvering. Not saying he's not tactical, but it's the whole encompass. Like Bivol basically is he's even got an American flair, but typically it's like the style isn't necessarily just that bouncing footwork. Usyk, it's the mentality, the discipline, the normally defensive, very defensively responsible. They're always punching on the way out, and Opetaia, he punches on the way in. He's looking to hurt guys badly. He's been hurting guys, and he's been getting more powerful. I spoke about his back's getting stronger. He's looking more physical, his specimen. We'll talk about science quickly now. So one thing that he does really well, he's done well for a while, but he's got just tremendous, good balance.
Fantastic work. It really is probably the best round. Look at that lovely counter right hook.
And good poise and posture, right? And when you talk about science, a big part of delivering the punches is something called the kinetic chain, right? I'll pull up a little clip where it's essentially a ball of energy that flows through your body, right? And you have to harness it. Good technique harnesses it, right? And so it starts in the legs typically. You can throw arm punches, but it's less of a chain. The chain meaning from bottom of your feet to the end of the fist, right? And that's if you look at his punches are effortless, and he stings them like that, but he's got his balance and his base under him, which creates more power, creates good technique, rhythm. You look at Bruce Lee's 1-inch punch. It comes from the back foot. When he's turning that back foot, he presses off it. That's the start of the chain, right? And this is, I always like to include a little bit of science or art. I'll get onto the art in a minute, but that's something to kind of expect a bit more on the channel. I'm really trying to create a little different lane here. I'm not just a channel that covers fights and stuff. I really want to bring a bit more artistic stuff in. So I'll switch lanes, right? This project I'm working on, Samoan Power. Shout out to the comment. That was a great comment. It really I feed off of comments, I really do, because it gives me ideas, and I'm like, wow, that would be a great project. And I'm making some music. It's going to be, about as respectfully as I can, kind of encompassing Samoa, the island. I've got loads of images from my research I've been doing, the music, some of the rhythm with the music. I'm going to bring that into the drums that I've made. I'm going to play more of a cinematic track, because looking at Samoan music, I didn't really know which lane to go in. I know there's some pop reggae, and there's I didn't really have an easy time finding a sound that I could use that I'm familiar with, and I'm better at playing cinematic music. So I'm going to bring in some real cinematic, powerful, and that's power really. Samoan Power, cinematic is powerful. And it's just a little story about, maybe 5-6 minutes of, just, some highlights and stuff like that, and building it with his relationship with his dad, from just the whole energy from the island of Samoa, the warrior spirit, the civi tour that I put in. Just show some respect, and just from some art from the heart. I'm really looking forward to that project, to be honest with you. I've started it already, so it will be a couple of weeks probably. But that's the art. That was the science before that, and hopefully in every single video I can do a little bit of that. But that's it from me. Links again in the video. Appreciate anybody that's watched, especially if you made it this far. Salute to you. If you are new, hit the subscribe button. I've got loads of videos coming. I'm all over the place, but I just try to cover boxing passionately as best as I can. But anyway, have a lovely week. Peace and love. I'm out.
Boxing.
On it is.